Charles, drum. Go ahead. Jaya Rama Kunja Bihari Jaya Rama Kunja Bihari. Everyone clap. Gopi Janga Vallabha Giridhara Dhari Gopi Janga Vallabha Giridhara Dhari Nana Saja Jana Rangana Nana Saja Jana Rangana Jamuna Chira Brahmachari Chira Brahmachari Jaya Rama Jani Hare Jaya Rama Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Follow. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Bolo. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gaura Bemanandi. Jayam Vishnuvad Varamaham Zabadi Vijakacharnja. Ashtaladadadashi Śrīmad. His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Tri Dandiko Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder-Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Bhatita Pavana Savior of the fallen souls Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada flooding the whole universe with an ocean of ecstatic Krishna Prema Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Vanamaham Zabadi Vijakacharnja Ashtadharajadashi Śrīmad. His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharnja Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Padamsa Kahoshi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dhama Ki Jai. Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Jamuna Mai Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gauda Premananda. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Buddhaya. Srimati Bhaktivedanta Shramariti Namani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachani. Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pascharcha Desha Tarini. So today we are blessed with the most auspicious opportunity. Out of thousands, millions and billions and trillions and quadrillions of lifetimes, now we are coming in contact with the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam to liberate us from our entanglement in the cycle of birth and death. Today we are reading from the 4th canto, chapter 18, Prithu Maharaj milks the earth planet. Text number 19. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Prakalpya. Is it on the board properly? Yes, okay. We have the correct verse, 4:18-19. Okay, good. Vatsam Kapilam Siddha Sankalpana Mayim Siddhim nabasi vidyam cha ye cha vidyadara adaya prakopyavatsam kapilam siddhasankalpanamayam siddhim nabasi vidyam cha ye cha vidyadaradaya prakopyavatsam kapilam siddhasankalpanamayam siddhim nabasi vidyam cha ye cha vidyadaradaya prakopyavatsam kapilam siddhasankalpanamayam siddhim nabasi vidyam cha ye cha vidyadaradaya Ladies, Bhagavatam Kapilam Panamayam Siddhanati Vidyam cha Ye cha Vidyadaradaya. Some other ladies. Bhagavatam Kapilam Siddhasankalpanamayam siddhim nabasi vidyam cha ye cha vidyadaradaya Bhaktivedanta kapilam siddhasankalpanamayam siddhim nabasi vidyam cha ye cha vidyadaradaya prakopyavatsam kapilam siddhasankalpanamayam siddhim nabasi vidyam cha ye cha vidyadaradaya siddhasankalpanamayam siddhim nabasi vidyam cha ye cha vidyadaradaya prakalpya appointing vatsam calf kapilam the great sage Kapila Siddha the inhabitants of Siddhaloka Sankalpanamayam proceeding from will Siddhim yogic perfection Nabasi in the sky vidyam, knowledge, cha, also, ye, those who, cha, also, vidyadhara, adya, the inhabitants of Vidyadhara Loka, and so on. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. After this, the inhabitants of Siddhaloka, as well as the inhabitants of Vidyadhara Loka, transformed the great Kapila into a calf, and making the whole sky into a pot, they milked out specific yogic, mystic powers, beginning with anima. Indeed, the inhabitants of Vidyadhara Loka acquired the art of flying in the sky. Purport. The inhabitants of Siddhaloka and Vidyadhara Loka are naturally endowed with mystic yogic powers by which they can not only fly in outer space without a vehicle, but also can fly from one planet to another simply by exerting their will. Just as fish can swim within water, the residents of Vidyadhara Loka can swim in the ocean of air. As far as the inhabitants of Siddhaloka are concerned, they are endowed with all mystic powers. The yogis in this planet practice the eightfold yogic mysticism, namely yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, jhana, and samadhi. By regularly practicing the yogic processes, one after another, the yogis attain various perfections. They can become smaller than the smallest, heavier than the heaviest, etc. They can even manufacture a planet, get whatever they like, and control whatever man they want. All the residents of Siddhaloka are naturally endowed with these mystic yogic powers. It is certainly a very wonderful thing if we see a person on this planet flying in the sky without a vehicle, but in Vidyadhara Loka, such flying is the commonplace as the birds flying in the sky. Similarly, in Siddhaloka, all the inhabitants are great yogis, perfect in mystic powers. The name of Kapila Muni is significant in this verse because he was the expounder of the Sankhya philosophical system, and his father Kardama Muni was a great yogi and mystic. Indeed, Kardama Muni prepared a great vehicle, a great airplane, which was as large as a small town and had various gardens, palatial buildings, servants and maidservants. With all this paraphernalia, Kapila Dev's mother Devahuti and his father Kardama Muni traveled all over the universes and visited various planets. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jata Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Lam Yagate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam. Pretty amazing description. We go down to the beach and we see the people windsurfing. It seems pretty impressive, but that's nothing compared to these people. They can just take off in the sky without an airplane, without a wind sail or anything. Just take off in the sky. Pretty amazing. But it's nothing compared to going back to Godhead. So we shouldn't be envious and think, yeah, I really want to fly in the sky. Like, I want to go to Siddhaloka and fly in the sky, not an airplane. Another point that jumps, sometimes we go to the airport, we see these double-deckers, Qantas double-deckers, and we go, oh wow, look at that big, huge airplane with 2 decks. And they have even beds up in the business class section. Wow, pretty amazing thing. But that's nothing compared to this airplane. You had a whole town in the airplane, if you could imagine. Palatial buildings, gardens. Can you imagine gardens on an airplane? And palatial buildings, parks on an airplane? But still, that's nothing compared to going back to Godhead. So we should really, be really serious to go back to Krishna. It's wonderful beyond even our wildest imaginations, how wonderful it is to go back to Godhead. We should really be focused, We have a tendency to get diverted by this thing and that thing. Sense gratification, right? Our minds like monkeys, jumping from branch to branch to branch to branch to branch. But we got to come back to Krishna. That's the whole point. Yato nischalati manas chansalamastaram tatastato nayamyachad atmamiva vishamyaya. From whatever and wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. I can tell you right now, Prabhu's Amanajis, if you don't do this, you're just cheating yourself, really. If we don't do this, we're cheating ourselves. If we don't bring that rascal mind under control, we let it go wild, we're just torturing ourselves, really. Would you like to torture yourself? But that's what we're doing. And we don't want to let our minds run wild. We're just torturing ourselves. See, we neophyte devotees, we go through a lot of anxieties, isn't it? It's because we haven't brought our mind under control. That's the difficulty. We haven't brought our minds under control. So we have to learn that art. And it really boils down to what's called chanting offenselessly. That's the art of bringing the mind under control. You see, when you can get that taste for Krishna's name, when you can actually connect with Krishna, do you realize that when you actually connect with the name of Krishna, you're directly associating with Krishna's form also, and his abode also, his pastimes also, his associates also. It's all there within Krishna. You don't have to wait to go back to Godhead, actually, because Godhead is right there in those 2 syllables. If you can actually fully absorb yourself in these syllables, Krishna, you'll already be in the spiritual world. Prabhupada explains like that in the Krishna book. You've read that lately, Krishna book? This is amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. So how do we avoid the offenses? What's the first offense? The to be critical of Vaishnavas. This is a big one in ISKCON. Yeah, that devotee, yeah. Or even be open our ears to hear the criticisms, you see. Someone says, yeah, that devotee's no good, or that guru is no good, or whatever, you know, these criticisms. This is deadly stuff. As soon as we speak or absorb ourselves in hearing criticisms against Vaishnavas or gurus even, you see, we lose the ability to fix our minds on Krishna. We lose the ability to actually relish the bliss of Krishna consciousness. So that's why the first offense is very, very important we avoid it, not to be blasphemous or even hear the blasphemies of devotees. And then the list goes on, of course. Consider the names of the Lord to be like the names of the same as the demigods' names. We should know these offenses and avoid them very carefully. Because by doing that, we can actually enter into the sweet realm of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is unbelievably ecstatic. When we actually absorb ourselves in Krishna consciousness, then we're fully absorbed in thinking of the welfare of all the living entities who are caught up right now in the cycle of birth and death. You see? When we're actually Krishna conscious, we become oceans of compassion for the suffering living entities caught up in the cycle of birth and death. And Prabhupada explains in this connection. A Krishna conscious being is always thinking and planning how to deliver the entire suffering humanity back to home, back to Godhead. Is that what we think about when we get up in the morning when we're brushing our teeth? We have to be a little embarrassed, don't we? Wow, that's what it really means to be Krishna conscious. To be constantly absorbed in meditating, delivering all the souls of this material existence back to Krishna. That is the symptom of one who is actually situated in Krishna consciousness. Well, that's when somebody asks me, well, how are you doing? I say, well, I'm not there yet. I'm working on it. I just honestly tell them I'm not there yet. And even Prabhupada told me, he said, now you just qualify yourself to see Krishna face to face. Ooh, that's a big one. So they say, how are you doing? I say, well, I'm working on it. I'm making some progress, a little progress. But that's actually the standard, you see. For being really Krishna conscious, you're totally absorbed in a mood of unlimited compassion on even the mosquitoes, if you can imagine. You feel compassion even for the mosquitoes. You're fully absorbed in compassion for every single living entity who's caught up in this material existence, and you're able to directly perceive Krishna and his pastimes within your heart right now. So that's what we can achieve. You see, that's the kind. It's not becoming a devotee doesn't mean getting some position in ISKCON and just being recognized in ISKCON. That's not a very important thing. Yeah, if I can become a GBC or a guru or a Pujari, or they can recognize me for my Sankirtan exploits. That's okay, but that's not the goal. You see, the real goal is to awaken pure love of God within the heart. And that's what we should be greedy for, eager for. Whether you're a householder living outside, or Brahmachari living in the temple, or Brahmacharini, whatever your position is, if you want to know what you really should be doing, you should be very, very intense with greed to awaken pure love of God within your heart. Right now. Not next week or next year, the New Year's resolution for 2019. No, right here, right now. Why? Because death can come at any minute. There was I just read in Indonesia, there was a surprise tsunami that hit, and thousands of people were killed instantly. It's out of nowhere. It was not expected at all. There was even a rock concert going on, and the tsunami completely swept away the rock concert and killed the lead singer's wife instantly. So you never know what can happen. especially driving in the car, it's always dangerous getting in a car on the freeway. You never know, death can be that close. So we have to always be very, very keen that I have to be in this mood of begging Krishna for pure devotional service, you see. If we have that mood of always begging Krishna, please, my dear Lord, bless me, that I can have that awakening of pure love within my heart for you and for your devotees. Please help me, my Lord. I'm so fallen, I'm so degraded. Even Prabhupada prayed like this to his spiritual master. He said, please save me of fallen, your divine grace. Can you imagine? If we pray like that, to please save me of fallen, we should be. We should all feel I'm a most fallen soul. I'm just begging my spiritual master. I'm begging Srila Prabhupada. I'm begging the Acharyas. I'm begging Lord Chaitanya. I'm begging Radharani. I'm begging Krishna. Please save this fallen soul who's so lost in this cycle of birth and death. Please save me. This should be the mood. Keep that mood always burning in your heart. You may say, well, that sounds so discouraging. I'd be really depressed if I thought I was fallen. It doesn't work. I guarantee you it doesn't work that way. The more you don't think you're fallen, that's your misery. I'll tell you right now. The more you think you're very advanced, that's your anxiety. But the more you can feel you're fallen and fully dependent on the mercy of Guru and Krishna to save you, that's when you can actually begin to taste the nectar of the name. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Why did Lord Chaitanya say? One should think oneself lower in the straw in the street, being ready to offer all respect to others without expecting even the slightest bit of respect for oneself. In such a state of mind, you can go deep, deep, deep into Nama Ruchi. Deep, deep, deep into Nama Ruchi. So why don't we learn to do that, y'all? As we say in Texas. Why don't we learn to do that? Why don't we learn to become humble, really humble? You see? What's holding us back? Nothing, except our stupidity. Really. Nothing holding you back from becoming a pure devotee right now. The only thing that's holding us back is our stupidity. We're just too damn stupid to understand what I really need to do with my mind, where I really need to put it, you see. But if we carefully read these books of Srila Prabhupada with a humble mood of trying to learn what is my defect, how can I correct myself, you see, if we study very humbly and sincerely these books, then Krishna and Prabhupada will speak to us, you see. They will enlighten us, they will inspire us, they will give us transcendental realizations of actually what I need to do to realize Krishna right now. You understand these points? You see? Not just some, I'll sit in the class, okay, it's my duty to sit in the class. And yes, Haribol, go home, take prasadam. No, this Bhagavatam is Krishna himself. You understand? Bhagavatam is Krishna himself appearing right here, right now. We have to learn how to deeply, deeply take this Bhagavatam into our hearts. By doing so, we'll be right there with Krishna in the spiritual world. That's how powerful it is. So if there's any questions, I can try to answer them. Anyone have any questions? Here's a question. I'm a little deaf, so I'll turn on my volume, my hearing aid, and see if I can make it out.
How to compromise? It's better to beat mind or better to speak with them?
Compromise what?
How to control the mind.
Oh, how to control the mind, okay.
Better to beat it or speak like the friend. Speak like a friend or beat it.
Oh, okay. That's a very nice question, thank you. How to control the mind, should you... Which method should you take? The method of the Bhaktivedanta prescribes. In the morning you beat the mind with shoes 100 times, in the evening with a broomstick 100 times. That's one approach. There's also the approach of Govinda Das. Bhajahu re mana Srinandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare. My dear mind, please engage yourself in the devotional service of the Divine Son of Nanda Maharaj. Which approach should I take? The stick or my dear mind? Oh, whatever works. Just like a parent raising a kid. You do whatever works, right? To keep the kid controlled. Whatever works. If the my dear mind works for you, then go with it. If it doesn't work, get out the stick. Whatever works, And just like Prabhupada in training us, he would glorify us. Can you imagine how much Prabhupada would glorify us sometimes? He told us we were all simply wonderful. Can you imagine? You are all simply wonderful. But sometimes he would chastise very heavily also. Demon. So you do whatever works, you see? Whatever helps you to stay enlivened in Krishna consciousness, do that, according to time, place, and circumstance. Next. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, money in the class early. Here we go.
Gurudev, here we see that sequence of verses talking about extracting things from the earth, mentality to extract from the earth, and then use another highly elevated person to do, say they're using Kapila Dev, earlier was Prahlad Maharaj, they're getting things out from the earth. So this mentality of getting something from somebody, especially who's very prominent, this kind of creeps into a spiritual, into devotional life also. We tend to use someone else's superior position to get something from them rather than serve them. How do we get out of that?
Well, sometimes taking things from them and engaging in Krishna's service is serving them. It's like we go on a book distribution. We're trying to induce them to give some of their money. That actually liberates them, you see. Their money is being engaged in Krishna's service. So to utilize, actually our agenda is to utilize every single asset of Australia, America, Russia, etc., and engage it all in Krishna's service. We're very greedy to get all of these resources and engage them in Lord Chaitanya's movement. And that's not selfishness. That's our duty. Because actually everything belongs to Krishna, and these people are utilizing these things outside of the service of Krishna, causing themselves to go to hell. So we can induce them to give at least some of something for Krishna's service. It's not for us. We're happy to living very simply. We don't need any, extravagant lifestyle. We can live very simply, be very happy, chanting Hare Krishna, taking prasadam. We're totally happy, you see. But these people, they have all this opulence, and they're using it to go to hell. So our duty is to somehow induce them to take these things they're using for sense gratification and utilize them all in the service of Guru and Gauranga and Krishna. So this is our duty. It's not selfishness. If we take for our sense gratification, yes, that's sinful. But to encourage them to give in Krishna's service, that's very good. Just like I have disciples, you see. And I'm taking their energy, engaging in Krishna's service. Not for my service, ultimately. Not really for my service. They're thinking they're serving me, but I'm simply engaging them in the service of Krishna, the service of Prabhupada. You see? So we, for ourselves, not nirmama, nothing is mine. But bhoktaram jagatapasam sarvaloka maheshvaram Suhridam sarvabhutanam gyatvam shamsam ritstati. One who knows me, Krishna says, as the supreme enjoyer, supreme owner, and the best friend of all living entities, he can have total perfect peace. So we want to engage the whole world in understanding who everything actually belongs to, who is the actual enjoyer of everything, and who is the best friend. This is our loving service to them, to engage their resources in the service of Krishna. That clear? Next. Now we have one that came in from the internet, from Europe. Coming in from Europe, we have a question, okay? At places like school, where we can't chant loudly at those times, if we chant the mantra in our mind, we'll have the same effect. Yeah, you're in a situation, you're sitting in a classroom in the school, you can't sit there and go, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Yeah. So you meditate on Krishna. My dear Krishna, here I am in the school, learning something. Please bless me, I can utilize what I'm learning here today in your service. In this way you can remember Krishna and pray to him that you can utilize this particular situation in his service. It's like our children, they're going to schools. So when they go to school, they can pray like that within their mind. Here I am, my Lord, I'm in the school, I'm learning this and that, with all these karmis, you're using it for all sense gratification. But please bless me, my Lord, that when I'm here in this school, I can think, let me utilize what I'm learning in your service. So there's always a way to connect with Krishna in any situation, you see. Because Krishna is there, he's within your heart. He can hear your prayers, even if they're just in your mind. You don't have to say them out loud. Even the prayers going on in your mind, he can hear them very clearly. So you just have to always be in that mood of begging Krishna for his blessings, that you can be fully and purely absorbed in his service, whether you're at school, at work, in the commute, at the temple, hearing the lecture, or going out for preaching work. Whatever you're doing, always beg that, my dear Lord, let me now be totally and purely absorbed in serving you, to give you complete, total satisfaction with my every thought, word, and deed in every circumstance. If you always keep this mood, always begging for pure devotional service, Krishna will reciprocate with you, and you will have this much desired awakening in the heart. You will go through all the stages of bhakti. You'll have faith in the process. You'll associate with devotees, you'll get initiated, you'll work very hard to get all that dirt cleaned out of the heart, and you'll become a fixed-up devotee, relishing the mellows of pure devotional service within your heart. It's all there, it's available. What the great sages achieved in the days of yore, you can achieve it right here and right now. You can have all mystic experiences of Krishna right here in Melbourne. Just like a sage in the ancient days in India can have, you can have the same thing right here, right now. It's just a matter of developing that mood of pure devotional service. Very intensely, very dedicatedly, and very focusedly, always in that mood. And that we have the perfect prayer for that. What is that prayer? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Now, one of our students named James has written, which version of Srila Prabhupada's books are the best? The original or the revised books? This is one of the controversies. So we'll talk about that. Prabhupada's original books are wonderful. They made thousands of devotees. But the early editors were early editors. Even they engaged a karmi in the editing work. A boy named Neil was engaged in transcribing the tapes back in New York in the early in the 60s. And he didn't know anything about the philosophy. So there's some big errors, like Pitri Loka. It was called the planet of the trees. Pitri Loka. He didn't realize the Sanskrit word Pitri. He thought it was the tree Loka, the planet of the trees. There's a lot of mistakes in the early editions. Another one is cow protection, Gauraksha, was called cattle raising, which is what they do in Texas for slaughter. Here you do it in Australia too. So, and Prabhupada noted these mistakes, you see. And Prabhupada wanted them corrected. So to say it's wrong to revise the books no, Prabhupada did want the mistakes to be corrected. So the original books were great, and the revised books are also great. And if you'd like to compare the two to see why they actually changed it, why, you can do that. You can go through point by point and see, well, yeah, that was kind of dumb to call Pitri Loka the plant of the trees. So actually, we should call it the way Prabhupada actually said it on the dictation tape. You see? Since the manuscript, what was in the book, didn't match what Prabhupada had dictated on the tape. There was mistakes made. So the original books are glorious, and the revised books are glorious. They're all glorious. You can read either edition and go back to Godhead. That's the answer, James. I have both of them in my database, so I can always compare, just, from a scholarly viewpoint. Those who have a scholarly nature can have both versions and do comparisons. Some devotees have a scholarly aptitude, so they can do that. I've kept both editions. In the database, they upgraded it and got rid of the old original edition, but I kept the old edition so I could always compare it because I have a little bit of a scholarly nature, So one can do that. If you're a scholarly nature, you can compare and see how they improved it in the revised version. Any other questions? Yes.
Devotee association is stressed a lot, but what's the right way of seeking devotee association? Is it like calling them for lunch and having?
Can you repeat the question?
Devotee association is stressed a lot. What is the...
Devotee association does what?
It's given a lot of emphasis.
It's given a lot of... It's stressed and emphasized, yes.
So what is the correct mood of associating? Should we call them for prasadam or what else?
Yeah. Sadhu Sangha is very much stressed. It's the first step on the path of bhakti is to have faith in the process. The second step is Sadhu Sangha, associate with devotees. And Krishna also emphasizes it in the Adi Purana. Ye me bhakta jana parata, na me bhakta state janaha, mad bhaktanam che ye bhaktas, te me bhakta tamamata. My dear Arjun, one who is my devotee, dhamme bhaktas. He is not my devotee, but the devotee of my devotee is my devotee. It's not that you would invite the whole temple over prasadam every day, but you should always be in the mood of loving and relishing the devotees' association. Even when you're not with them, you should carry them in your heart. Just like I have many God brothers who are now departed, no longer even present, but I meditate on them and love them in my heart. Feel love and affection, just like my Vishnu Jan Swami who made me a devotee. I have his photograph. I just relish thinking about him. Or my former GBC, Tamal Krishna Goswami, who departed many years ago. I remember these great personalities who inspired me and blessed me in so many ways. So even if you can't associate physically, within your heart, you always keep that association going. That's my style. I always keep it. Even if I had some disagreements, sometimes there was, there's conflicts and disagreements, but those things are not very important. The most important thing is how they help us to be Krishna conscious. Sometimes in any group, there's sometimes naturally going to be some conflicts or tensions of disagreements. It's a natural thing. But we don't take it very seriously. The most important thing is we're all here trying to love Krishna, trying to serve Prabhupada, and we can learn from each other and benefit from each other's association. It's a wonderful thing. And originally the movement was only about 10 or 15 people. Can you imagine? The whole movement was smaller than the group in this room. The whole movement in the beginning. Devotees were amazed. How could Swamiji call it the International Society for Krishna Consciousness? It's some little tiny storefront in Manhattan with about 10 or 15 hippies sitting there. But Prabhupada had this vision of this worldwide society, and it happened, you see, it happened. So now we have the benefit of the association of thousands and thousands and thousands of devotees. So we have to learn how to appreciate them. We have to look out for those, and we have sometimes neophytes who like to criticize and find faults. We have to be careful not to be polluted by these neophytes who haven't been trained properly, haven't learned properly yet. How that one should always be in a worshipful mood towards all Vaishnavas, you see. All Vaishnavas. What does Prabhu mean? Master. And the women, they're also Prabhus, you see. We are all Prabhus here. These are my masters. So the master is to be always worshipped and glorified. Those who criticize devotees, they're not in the proper mood. We must be very careful about those who criticize the devotees. We should not mix intimately with such persons. We could preach to them, but we should not mix intimately with persons who are always finding fault with devotees, you see. We should gravitate towards those who actually love the devotees, who respect the devotees, who admire the devotees. That's the association that will help us to get out of the cycle of birth and death. Because Krishna says, only the devotee of my devotee is my devotee. So if you're not devoted to devotees, you're in a very dangerous position. You can't go back to Godhead unless you're devoted to the devotees. Other question? Saw another hand somewhere. We have time for one more question. Let's see. Okay, here we go. From India. Does begging mood also help to control our mind? Absolutely. This is Leela Manjari Devi Dasi from India, my disciple. The begging mood is, where is that? Prabhupada, how did Prabhupada sign his name? The most insignificant beggar. If Prabhupada is a beggar, what is our position? You see? So they'll always be in that begging mood. Begging, 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 begging. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare. I'm begging Radharani. I'm begging Krishna, please, please, please engage me in serving you. I've been serving these rascal senses for millions and billions of lifetimes, and where has it got me? Another damn rotting body. So now, my dear Lord, please, I'm begging you, let me, my only desire be to please you and serve you, that my every thought, word, and deed, in every situation, let it be totally, completely pleasing to you. In that mood, we're begging, begging, begging for their blessings, you see. So in this way, you'll become perfect. And now one last question, no more. We're down to like the last minute. Bhargavi. Why can't I wholeheartedly beg for pure bhakti? How can I correct it? Yeah, that's a fact. Here we are mixed, you know. I want Krishna consciousness, but I still want sense gratification. What am I supposed to do? You know, I'm going between two worlds. I want sense gratification. I want Krishna, and it's like, what to do, you know? How can I beg wholeheartedly for bhakti when I still want sense gratification? So you can just, from your position, honestly pray, that's all. My dear Lord, I'm a fallen soul. I want devotional service, but I am also wanting sense gratification. My dear Lord, please help me out of this mixed position and let me come to the mood of I only want devotional service. You don't have to make up some prayer. Just pray honestly from your heart, wherever you're at. Just pray from wherever you're at, you see. Just from whatever your position, pray from that position honestly. And that will capture Krishna. You see. Try it, it works. So we'll stop here, and we thank you all very, very much for tuning into the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Gura Prem.